Man, I'm tired of this shit.
Dude, I was listening to that. Leave it alone.
This is absolute trash.
I don't care. Driver picks the station. Shotgun shuts his cake hole.
Passenger gets first dibs on everything. I have my finger on the button.
You know what? You want to fight about it?
Yeah.
Okay,
fuck
fine.
you.
Hey,
Fuck you.
leave it alone.
No.
It's mine.
Turn your trash off. Now look what you did.
Yo, everyone. Welcome back to Dissonant Harmonics Podcast. This is a Tidbits by me, Frasier. Just coming in to say what's up and give you a review of a recent rock/metal concert I was just at. Hanging out here with Studio Puppy. Oh, never mind. I guess he's leaving. Anyway, this last week I had the privilege of going to a concert starring Breaking Benjamin, Stained, Daughtry, and a band called Lakeview, which I will be talking about here in a Tidbits episode coming out soon. Just wanted to give you guys a review on the concert and how it went. We decided that this Tidbits, the concert reviews thing should probably just be a separate Tidbits because I was the only one there, and I'm really the only one that can speak on the matter and just give my impressions of the bands. I'm actually going to start with the headliners, Breaking Benjamin. I'm going to go in order that I just said. Breaking Benjamin, Stained, Daughtry, and then Lakeview. The reason for this is because I actually think, I'll give you a spoiler alert, I thought the night got better from the beginning, different ups and downs, and I'll go over that. This is a review for any of you guys. The reason we do this is because it's a review for any of you guys that haven't seen any of these bands live. Maybe you're debating seeing them live. Maybe you're like, hey, I don't have a whole lot of money, but maybe it's my dream band and I want to see them live, but I'm not sure if I should. So that's what this is. I also apologize for the slight volume changes. I'm using a pop filter for the first time, and I'm kind of adjusting it with my microphone, so I might get a little louder and quieter. So with all that being said, I'm going to start with Breaking Benjamin. I'm going to be 100% honest. I have already seen them 3 times in the past. I saw them right after Dark Before Dawn came out, and I've seen them 2 times after that, which was after Ember had already come out. Breaking Benjamin is a mix between a lot of fun live and slightly boring live. And by that, hang on, don't anybody get their pants in a twist. The music and how they perform it live is exactly what you'd hear on the record. It is really well done. They have basically 3 separate vocalists between Ben, Keith, one of the guitarists, and then Aaron, their bassist. Aaron handles most of the screaming duties. Keith handles most of the rhythm guitar work and lead vocal duties and background vocal duties. And then obviously Ben does most of the lead vocal duties. When I have seen them live in the past, they've had Keith lead the song sooner or later, kind of as for fun, so that Ben can just kind of sit back and play guitar and take a break. Aaron handles a lot of the screaming, so they specifically kind of highlighted him on the Dark Before Dawn tour when they did, I can't remember the name of the song. It's not Believe. It was on the Dark Before Dawn album. It was the one that had most of the screaming in it. I'll look it up and tell you guys in about 30 seconds what it is. But with that being said, we did leave a little bit early on this one because it was a weeknight. It was a Tuesday night when we saw them. And Bury Me Alive might have been the song. Going back in time, my ADHD's just caught up to me. It's not Breaking the Silence. It's, I think it's Close to Heaven or Bury Me Alive. That's a primarily screaming song on the Dark Before Dawn album. Anyway, for those of you that don't know, Ben's philosophy in the past, and he's said this multiple times in interviews, that he really likes to play just kind of the big hits live. The hang up with that is obviously Breaking Benjamin has had the same album out for like 3 or 4 years now. Ember came out at least 3 years ago. I think it was 4 years ago. Again, I'm looking that up literally as I talk to you because I want to... 2018. So it's been 6 years. So even longer than that. They did in the middle or right after the song So Cold, which they play, they had a thing flash up that said 10/16, which makes me think that on October 16th, which is 6 days from now when I'm recording this, a new song, a new album will be dropping. With that being said, as I was saying, Ben kind of tends to only play the big hits. But since they've been doing that for so long, 6 years, and they're still on top of the world, hell, they headlined this show, and Stain just released a new album last year. They started throwing in some deeper cuts. They started playing Until the End. They played Crawl, which is probably my favorite song they've ever put out. And they played, I'm not going to spoil. And then, for those of you who don't know, typically in the middle of the show, they start playing the Imperial March from Star Wars. And then they have some fun with that. Ben comes out and plays this kind of half Tom kit. And then they break into Schism by Tool and Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana, which is actually a lot of fun to watch and listen to. Most of the time, the Smells Like Teen Spirit intro gets the whole crowd moving and jumping up and down, and it's a lot of fun. The nice thing is now Ben's a little bit more relaxed on stage, you can tell, with having Jason Rauch and Keith Wallen in the band, respectively, playing guitar. There are a few songs where he'll just put down his guitar altogether and just worry about singing. My biggest hang-up with Breaking Benjamin, unfortunately, is Ben's vocals. Not that they're bad by any means. He still pulls them off live. And the funny thing is I thought he pulled off the high notes better than he did some of the lower notes. My hang-up is, and I think this is because they have 3 or 4 vocalists, they have him in the mix really far back. And I don't mean like drowning him out, but when him and Keith sing at the same time, you can't actually tell who's leading the song. I don't know if that's because Ben's vocal style is so unique and it is hard for him to hit some of those notes, but it was kind of disappointing. I wish he would be kind of more at the forefront. I wish the sound guy would have kicked up his vocals a couple dBs. That would have been way better. But overall, they put on a good show. It's a lot of fun. I'll say that. Breaking Benjamin's set is probably the most quote unquote fun set on the tour. So go see them. It's worth it. Again, I'm also coming from the jaded position of I've seen them 4 times now in the past 6 years. So keep that in mind. Going down to Stained, who was the co-headliner. They shared about the same amount of set time. Stained played every song you hoped they would, and then some. They played both of my favorite songs, Fade and Right Here. They played about only 3 or 4 tracks off the new album. They played, obviously, Here and Now, which is their big hit. They played one other song I actually didn't know. They played Better Days, and they played Lowest in Me. And then the rest of the set was It's Been a While, So Far Away, Mud Shovel. They actually played Raw, which I thought was a lot of fun. They played Raw from the Dysfunction album. This is the opposite of Breaking Benjamin. I've seen this a comment on Facebook or YouTube one day. Aaron Lewis has the stage presence of a brick, and that's not a dig. He just doesn't do a lot on stage. He comes out, he plays his guitar, he sings his ass off, he doesn't miss a note. The notes he does, quote-unquote, miss aren't misses. It's him doing extra notes or extra runs or changing things stylistically, which sounded really cool and brings a fresh view to and sound to the live show. Watching Mike Mushok play guitar is an absolute masterclass in guitar and makes you want to immediately give up playing and throw your guitar away, especially with the new 7-string he's been rocking for a little while. It's a lot of fun. And watching him play his guitar solos are freaking phenomenal. Aaron's voice sounds better than ever. I actually do like, this is something that Stain did that I haven't seen them do live before. Maybe it's just because I wasn't paying attention. Johnny April, their bassist, actually takes over a few of the lead vocal sections and does a very damn good job of it. I never once heard him miss a note, and he was back in the mix. I apologize. I keep burping. That's why you hear me randomly just stop in the middle of a word. Yeah, a lot of fun, decent, really good band. Like, again, not a whole lot of flair to that show. Mike Mushok jumping around like a maniac is probably the most action you're going to see. But with that being said, it's an amazingly good, good show and music vibe. Next on the list, Daughtry. Some of you might be disappointed with this one. I, first off, loved it. It was the most, other than Lakeview, was the highest energy act of the night. the most production. There was lots of smoke blowing everywhere, lots of stuff like that. The thing you might be disappointed by is he actually played like half of his set was the new stuff. Heavy as the Crown, Shock to the System EP, Two Hearted, which of course he was going to play. Their cover of Two Hearted, Worlds Apart by Journey. He brought the heavier side of his music. The only 3 older songs he played were obviously going to be off the first album, which is It's Been a While. Oh my gosh. It's Not Over. He played his own acoustic version of Home, which was really, really good. He just came out with an acoustic guitar and played it on his own. No backing track, no band, all live. And you could tell, I mean, having listened to the vocals, he edited some stuff, changed some timing up, all sorts of stuff. And then they played Over You. So those are the only 3 older songs they played. If you want to see the older stuff, you're not really going to see it on the new show because he is trying to promote the Shock to the System album EP, which is quite a bit heavier than what he's used to doing. But again, probably the most fun. The only thing I will give Chris Daughtry a demerit for, which has an excuse, is that sometimes his notes that he was trying to hit weren't quite in his wheelhouse. And not that he like flubbed notes, but you could tell like if he hit a high note, he'd only hit it for a very quick second and then stop. The other thing you could tell, and this is the reason that he's excused, you could tell dude was sick. He coughed a couple times on stage. His voice was much deeper and gravelier than it normally is. I actually looked over to my wife and go, his voice sounds like he's been smoking a lot. And my wife pointed out to me that he had coughed a few times and was probably sick. And then as I listened to him, having heard him in interviews before, he sounded incredibly nasally, a little bit like I do, which he normally doesn't sound like. So I think he was probably coming off a cold. His voice was much deeper and gravelier when he was talking than normal, but it was a lot of fun. And then finally, Lakeview. For those of you who don't know who Lakeview is, please go check them out. They are right where country meets metal, and I don't mean the Corey Marks 5-Finger Death Punch version. I mean the good version. They came out with all the energy and all the hits and all their big, heavy songs. I really felt bad for them because they were really putting on a show. Jesse was singing his ass off. Luke was kind of the hype man. For those of you who don't know, it's a country metal rock duo. They only do singing, they don't do screaming, but their music sounds like country music, and then the choruses kind of sound heavier. And then they have some straight up country songs. Jesse is the lead singer. He's the bigger guy with the mustache and the glasses. Luke Healy is the multi-instrumentalist, and I'm assuming primary songwriter in the band. He was kind of being a hype man and running around and screaming at everybody to get up on their feet and all that. I felt terrible for them because it's a Tuesday night at 5:30 and like half the crowd wasn't even there when they were trying to warm everybody up. People were getting into it, which I like to see, but not as much as I hoped they would. So yeah, I thought Lakeview did a great job. I would love to see them on their own headlining tour here in Seattle. If you guys are listening, please come to Seattle on your own headlining tour when they are able to have full production and their own crowd and full bells and whistles to see what kind of show they put on, because just opening didn't do them justice for as much energy and as much effort they put into that show. So good job on that, guys. Yeah, that's about it. That's the wraps up a review of the concert this last week. I know Josh is going to do a Tidbits, as we talked about reviewing a bunch of albums that him and I haven't been able to get to. He's going to do his whole list in one episode. I'm going to do my whole list because I have like 6 or 7 albums to review that have come out in the past like 2 months. So, yeah, guys, thanks for checking it out. This is Tidbits. If you want to see Breaking Benjamin, Daughtry, Stained, and Lakeview on tour, go do it. It's worth the money. It's worth the time, especially Stained's performance being as powerful as it is and Breaking Benjamin's performance being as fun and kind of lighthearted as it is. As dark as Breaking Benjamin's songs are, you can tell they're having a lot of fun on stage. And then go see Lakeview and Daughtry. They were, honestly, as weird as it might say, I thought they were the highlights of the night. So I will check you out all later, and keep an eye out for more episodes coming out later.